The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Free Kicks. So Adam and I spent the weekend in beautiful Mansfield, Ohio. That was quite an experience, wasn't it?
It certainly was.
Did you get Germanified?
I felt very Germanified, especially with some of your conversations about the Donner Schwaben and would you be officially, was it a slope? Is that what you're classified as?
A schwope.
A schwope.
Yes.
I love that word. Okay, yeah. So you're a schwope. I'm not a schwope, but Rick is a schwope, whatever that means.
Yes, that's right. So it was a national tournament, the National Donner Schwaben tournament, and this is just a type of German. We're just like, I like to refer to us as Alabama Germans, because we weren't really from Germany. We were from, the Romania, Yugoslavia area, but all of our people spoke German, and so that's the kind of Germans that we are. But Adam was kind enough to help coach the team, the U23 boys that went there and did pretty well, like green-white team. So thank you very much for doing that, Adam.
It was fun.
And right now, it's time for Free Kicks.
And now, Free Kicks. Free Kicks with Illinois Youth Soccer Association's Director of Coaching, Adam Howarth, and Rick Kemper.
So we intentionally took off last week because, we didn't have a full wrap on everything that had gone on in the season, and now we do. But before we get to that, I just want to talk to you about the TV ratings, because I don't know if you saw this, but on Thursday, NBC revealed that the last season of the Premier League broke a number of viewership records here in America on various different platforms. The 2023-2024 season had the most viewers of any season ever in America.
Wow.
They averaged 546,000 viewers per match, which is excellent. It beat the record of the previous year, which was when Leicester City won that improbable title in 2015-2016. And then, so that's just the average per match. The last season, or the last weekend of the season, 3 million people were watching in America across all the different platforms, which is amazing. And in this past season, the 2023-2024 season, 6 of the 7 most watched Premier League matches in United States history were this season. And the biggest one was the Manchester City Arsenal game, which was 2.12 million viewers on March 31st. So, thanks for bringing this game over here. We appreciate it.
Yeah, soccer's come home. Well, kind of. There you go.
So let's talk about that final week. We can now see exactly how everything ended up. We have a champion, which is not a huge surprise. That's Manchester City. They came through and won it in that final game. Arsenal finishes second. Liverpool finishes third. Aston Villa finishes fourth. Tottenham fifth. And Chelsea sixth.
Yeah.
Now,
amazing.
We'll talk about the FA Cup in a moment. The FA Cup kind of threw a little wrinkle into what teams go where. Right.
That's right.
But I got to tell you, I watched the final Liverpool game as a Liverpool supporter, watching Jurgen Klopp's last game, and they did a whole big presentation for him afterwards, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. I don't know if you got a chance to see it.
I did not see it live. I watched the highlights. Obviously, I was turned on the Chelsea game to see how they would do, and I was flipping back and forth with Man City and Arsenal. So, yeah.
So, it's a sad moment. It's a sad moment for Liverpool fans. And I think what one of the people said there is, actually, it was John Oliver. John Oliver.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see his quote?
Yeah, he did a nice job of kind of putting everything into perspective.
He said that for the rest of his life, he's going to meet people from Liverpool who are going to pull him aside and just weep. just try to put into words how much he meant to them, and they will never be able to successfully do it. That's how important Jurgen Klopp was to Liverpool.
Yeah, he made a massive impact. There's no question. Put Liverpool back on the map after probably a few years of being kind of average. Certainly top six always, but now they were clear contenders in every single tournament. And so Jurgen Klopp definitely transformed the game. Definitely a legend.
He is. The other big legend, obviously, is Pep Guardiola, who wins, was it 6 out of the last 7 now? Is that?
I believe so, yeah.
That's
4 in a row.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And do you think that he's getting to the point where he is ready to move on?
It's a good question. Motivation is going to be at some point, where do you go from there? You've won so many times. He's obviously put his name in the history of all Manchester City archives and books and what have you. But I think we could say one more year. I think he'd still like to win the Champions League again. I think that was probably a disappointment for him. And this year they had an opportunity to win 3 or 4 again, and unfortunately they only just won the one. So I guess there's the disappointment there in terms of that, obviously with the FA Cup, which we'll talk about, and then the Champions League loss to Real Madrid. So I think I'll give him one more year, but everybody's going to be gunning for him too. So all the other teams are getting closer. Certainly Arsenal is as close as they've ever been.
Yeah, that is true. All right, let's talk about the bottom of the table. We already knew which teams were going to be going, and they all did. But what we didn't know is which team would be coming up. And now we have our 3 teams. Tell everybody who they are.
Yep, so just the most recent team to come up, and this was the big game this past weekend. I think they talk about it being worth over $100 million in terms of the money that they get for winning that and going into the league. And it was a bit of a surprise. So Leeds were the favourites to beat Southampton, but Southampton came through, and they are the 3rd team to come up with Leicester City and Ipswich. Those 2 teams could be slightly different potentially in terms of their managers. You never know. Right. But the 3rd team, Southampton's coming up. So those are the 3, and they're going to replace Luton, Burnley, and Sheffield United, who were the 3 teams that came up last year. Could those 3 teams come straight back down again? Very possible. Very possible. We'll see where they stand. But, great performance for Southampton. 80,000. I think they said there was actually more people at that game than the FA Cup final.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Big
because the FA Cup final was just 2 Manchester teams, right? It was just like, whatever.
Yeah, play each other all the time anyway.
Exactly. Well, that's good. I mean, Southampton and Leicester City have both recently been in the Premier League. Ipswich, this is going to be a big deal for them.
Brand new. Yep, exactly. Yeah, so they haven't been, and they've gone back-to-back promotions. So from League One to Championship to Premiership, which is an amazing accomplishment. And they got a good young manager in Kieran McKenna. Looks like he's going to be sticking around right now, at least. He was the former Manchester United assistant manager and has done a fantastic job. And we shall see if they make an impact. They play a nice style of football, and we'll see how they do.
How's their stadium? I mean, it's pretty good size. Okay, it's good size. Bigger than Luton was.
Yeah, it's probably mid-20s or so. Certainly not massive by any means, but they're very well supported, I would say, overall. They do a pretty good job of filling, and they have a little bit of a history, especially if you remember the manager Bobby Robson, who was the former England manager when they lost to Germany there in the semi-finals of the World Cup in 1990.
Yeah, remember it well.
He was the manager at that time, yeah. He got a little bit lucky on penalty kicks, as per usual. So he was he's the manager for Ipswich that took him to kind of greater heights. They actually won the UEFA Cup, the Europa League, many, many years ago as well in the early 80s. So they've had some players go through there. So yeah, they produced some really good players in the early 80s there for a while. But so they're very well supported. Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll do fine. It's again, it's a big jump for them. Just like Burnley found out, Luton, Sheffield United. So they've got to find a way to stay in the league.
Okay. Well, that's worth watching next season.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about the FA Cup final. You and I watched it in Mansfield, Ohio. We watched Manchester United versus Manchester City. The entire world assumed that Manchester City was going to win that game. And then what happened?
Yeah, it was an interesting game. I mean, it was the classic... Right at the beginning of the match, the classic game that took place, the underdogs in Manchester United and Manchester City made a massive, massive mistake early on in the game with Stefan Ortega, obviously the kind of the backup goalkeeper, you could say. Maybe the communication wasn't quite there with Guardiola, and it was the classic yours, mine, oh crap, and the ball headed behind, and the Garnacho had an easy tap in to make it 1-0 pretty early on, and then the second goal came in, after that as well. So they were 2-0 up before Manchester City was able to pull one back when Jeremy Doku, who was he was a little bit of a fire running around there. He made things happen and kind of made it interesting at the end. But Man United, their typical counter-attack style, dropping back and absorbing the pressure, it worked well for them and ended up getting the win.
Well, I'm happy for them because they've never won a trophy before, have they? Manchester United.
They've only got the 13 FA Cups.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was just the 13.
Okay.
So one behind. I think it's one behind Liverpool, I think.
So three big cups in English soccer, and this year 3 different winners.
Yeah, that's right. She's nice, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Man City. So that was quite nice that they were sharing the wealth a little bit. So that was good.
Actually, that is good. I like that too. All right, let's talk about coaches, because this is the time of year where, I guess we call them managers, not coaches, but managers are switching back and forth from various different teams. And there's a couple of big ones that haven't officially been signed yet, but as we record this, it looks like it's going to happen. Let's talk about the man that they have identified as the new head coach of Chelsea, Enzo Maresca.
Yeah, so Mauricio Pochettino pretty much left right after the season.
Now, did he leave or did they tell him to leave?
It was by mutual consent. So basically he said, I'm going to leave. If you tell me I'm leaving, I guess I'm going to leave.
Okay.
So it was kind of one of those types of things. And I think it was, again, it came down to a little bit of a power struggle, I think, is kind of what ended up happening. He wanted more control, which goes back to this whole idea of manager and coach.
Yeah.
So I think the Chelsea higher-ups, the owners, they want a coach. They want to manage. They want to do everything. And I think that was obviously Pochettino didn't want. He wanted to have a say in the different types of transfers that come in. And so it looks like that Enzo Maresca, another Italian manager for Chelsea, who was working under Pep Guardiola at Manchester City there, was their under-23 manager, worked underneath him for a year or two, and has recently became the manager of Leicester City. Obviously, they ran away with the league title at Leicester City.
Yeah, did a fairly good job there, right?
Did a good job, yeah. Won the league, and he's coming in. It looks like they're signing him into a 5-year deal, which is quite surprising. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, nothing's confirmed yet, but it's very close to happening, that's for sure. So it looks like he's the favorite. So
how do you feel about it? I mean, as a Chelsea supporter, I mean, first of all, I thought Ponch, he was on the edge all year.
Yeah.
But it did look like he had figured it out at the end of the season.
Oh, absolutely. Massive forward momentum at the end. Chelsea were moving in a very good direction. Looks like the players were enjoying their football. Everybody was having a good time. And it looked like Chelsea was back to where they were able to control matches against the middle to lower level teams. Whereas before, probably at the start of the season, that wasn't happening. Right. And so that's been frustrating. So I think that's what's going to happen, and it's unfortunate. I've listened to a lot of Chelsea fans saying the same thing, and it's like we've got to start over again. So it's a brand new manager, brand new style of play. Although I think it's going to be somewhat similar to what Poch was doing, and obviously he's going to have a lot of Pep thoughts and processes as well. So it's certainly not going to be right. We're certainly not going to be playing long ball, that's for sure.
Right.
Right. But my concern is his experience, and again, that's always the same. It's always the big thing, right? And people say, well, how is they supposed to get experience when they're not given an opportunity? Well, here's his opportunity.
Yeah, but the only thing you don't hop right into the
exactly.
I mean, it's a hornet's nest.
I know. My only red flag would be his time when he was the manager at Parma. So he left Manchester City and went to Parma and was really a bit of a failure there. And he was coaching in a team in the second division, Serie B. And even though he had some good players there, he had actually Buffon as his goalkeeper. He got dismissed after like 13 games. I think only won 3 or 4 his first 13 games.
Wow.
So that's a bit of a flag for me. Now, he did do well with Leicester City. But then, that being said, Leicester was probably the most equipped team to come straight back up anyway.
That's true.
They had the best players.
Yeah.
But you still got to do it. He's going to be judged very quickly. And if things aren't going well, he might be out. So, but if he is given a 5-year contract, I would be shocked because that's a huge contract for him to be given. And it looks like he's just going to be coaching. He will just be the coach, not the manager.
What was the name of that Italian guy that was the manager for Chelsea who would smoke on the sidelines?
Yes. Oh my goodness!
I can't even remember his name. It's just a complete brain fart on my part.
Yes.
Sarri or something like that.
Sarri, yeah, absolutely,
Sarri.
yeah. Arrigo Sarri, yeah. Sarri, yes, absolutely, yeah. He was the one that ended up actually having. They actually built a little area for him at the Chelsea training ground because he needed to go smoke cigarettes in between training sessions and what have you. Yeah. Another Italian. So.
Well, let's keep an eye on Enzo. If he starts smoking, then we know it's time to.
He might be going downhill. Yeah, exactly.
The other big name that came up over this past few weeks is. Bayern Munich has now this. I don't think this has officially been wrapped up yet either.
Nope.
But Vincent Kompany,
yes,
who was just relegated, manager from Burnley, and I got some good reviews as a manager in the Championship, but that team never really clicked in the Premier League.
Right.
It seems like an odd choice for a powerhouse like Bayern Munich.
Yeah, maybe you know more than I concerning their German mentality and their thought process, but they're picking a Dutch guy who just got relegated, and they just didn't win the league for the first time ever. And it's a strange choice. I'll be honest with you. There's no question that he's a good manager. I think he understands. He's obviously did a nice job with them, but again, like we said, he got relegated. So didn't find a way to keep the team up. And he is in that Pep Guardiola mold, obviously played for Pep at Manchester City, learned a lot from him. So there's that thought process. I did read something that Pep had some very good things to say because obviously Pep was the manager of Bayern there for a short period of time.
Yeah, that's true.
So So he probably put in a good word for him. Hey, why don't you give my buddy a chance? Okay, sounds good. Yeah, you did pretty well with us. So, yeah, we'll do that. So hopefully he has some success. But, again, very interesting choice.
Yeah.
Lots of question marks for sure.
And then the other one, this was announced before the end of the season, but Liverpool's new coach. How do you pronounce his name?
Arne Slot.
Slot.
Slot from PSV. Again, probably for all of us, we're going to have to do a little bit more research on him as a manager.
Yeah.
But has been very successful in terms of doing very well with with Feyenoord. I apologize. They've been really the best team in Holland, kind of taking over the mantle from
Ajax.
From Ajax, who kind of dropped down a fair bit. So, he's the one that kind of took him over, and he was linked with some other Premiership teams a few years ago. But
and there are some Dutch players on that team.
Yes,
and the thing that that Klopp did, which I thought was very classy, is while the whole crowd was singing his song, that Beatles song that they sing for him. He, after they finished the song, he created a new one for them to sing for the new coach, and he sang it to them.
Nice.
So that's a nice little handing of the baton, I think.
Yeah. And I know we didn't talk about this one. This one is just literally just coming across right now. And I thought you might be interested. Barcelona have appointed Bayern Munich boss Hansi Flick as their new manager.
Hansi Flick?
Yes. What do you think about that one?
I'm shocked.
Yes.
Well, I guess they've got Lewandowski there, right? Maybe he put in a good word for them.
Yeah, I guess so. But certainly not. When you think of Barcelona, you don't think of Hansi Flick.
No, you do not. Wow.
Especially they've gone from Xavi, Mr. I play the ball wherever I need to, pass.
Right.
Whereas Hansi's going to be a little bit more direct in the German style. Would you agree?
I would agree totally.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
It's there's going to be an interesting summer. By the time everything shakes out, we'll have a really exciting pre-season to talk about. That's for sure.
Okay. Well, Free Kicks is brought to you by the Illinois Youth Soccer Association.
Illinois Youth Soccer has been proudly serving the Illinois soccer community since 1975. Illinois Youth Soccer is a non-profit corporation, official state association, and charter member of the U.S. Soccer Federation, administers U.S. Soccer Federation coaching programs, the Olympic Development Program, and U.S. Soccer Federation referee programs. For more information, go to illinoisyouthsoccer.org.
Okay.
And I know we've got a busy couple of weeks, so next week we're finishing up our state cup finals.
Wait. You know what? When you get to start giving specific news like this, you know what has to happen, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
And now the latest Chicago area soccer news. Soccer news with Coach Adam. Coach Adam.
There you go. Or Manager Adam.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not a coach. I'm just a manager.
There you go.
So lots of things happening these last 2 weeks. So we had President's Cup champions, getting all them sorted out to get to their regionals, and then State Cup finals this weekend as well. So we're going to have probably by the end of it, 30 to 40 teams going to regionals, and then some already have qualified for nationals. Lots of things happening with all of our club teams. So we're excited to see what happens for them as they go on through the summer for all of those different events.
And the ODP stuff is this is the busy season for you guys for that.
So we actually have we have one big event in the middle of June coming up. So it's called a sub-regional. So those players who were classified as state players, those players have been selected and we're going to be going to an event. I'm going back to Ohio, baby.
All right.
To Cincinnati, Ohio, for a little sub-regional in the middle of June. So we're excited to take. We're going to be taking about 20 teams there for that event, and we play mostly Midwestern states: Ohio, Kentucky, Michigan. All of those states will be there, so we're excited to be playing there. And then that prepares them individually for some of those players who are going to go on to the regional camp, and that's where they get selected for regional teams. So I'll be busy with that state camp, and then the region, the sub-regional, and then obviously the regional camp. And then I have the pleasure of coaching a regional team too, so which is always fun.
Okay. So, yeah, sounds like a busy summer coming up. It's time for one last time before we call it a summer for this.
Time now to guess the Premier League star.
Sometimes my button pushing finger is a little too quick.
I get it.
So this week's Premier League star, the last one of the season. I'm going to give you somebody who's been around forever, just as a gift, as my gift to you as we head into the summer. This player is 36 years old. All right, so he has been around forever, and he's currently playing for a club for the second time. Now, he previously played for them, and when he played for them, we're talking a long time ago. 2006 through 2015, he played for this team. In between those two stints, he also played for West Brom, and he played for Leicester City.
Wow.
He has over 100 caps for his national team. But that team is not England. It is, however, one of the countries in the United Kingdom.
Okay.
I think.
So it's either Scotland, when you say UK, so it's either Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland.
Yes, it's one of those.
Would it be fair to say it would be Scotland?
No. Two other choices there.
So got to be Wales.
It's not.
Got to be Northern Ireland.
Yep, very good. He has scored a grand total of 17 goals in over 400 matches. Yeah.
And if I remember, maybe this might have reflected on your pick of this player. Was there a little bit of I don't know if you remember seeing this little bit of an incident on the sidelines of the FA Cup final. Did you see this?
Yes, this is exactly why I picked him.
All right. So I figured that would probably be the reason. And he's played, to be fair, he played a fair bit.
He's played a lot this year.
And it's quite surprising that he has played as much as he's done.
Right.
But
because he is slightly washed up, let's be honest.
Yeah, I would say. Definitely on his lap. If he comes back next year, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, me too.
Or maybe he'll play with Leicester again, who knows. But I think it has to be Mr. Johnny Evans, the Northern Irish international.
That is correct. And he has the same last name as the family from the sitcom Good Times, which was going to be another.
That was the last one. Huh?
That was going to be my last clue. Very good. Well, I don't. Are there any TV games left? We'll find out because I'm going to press the button. Here we go.
Now time for Adam's Weekend Soccer TV Tip.
I know there's at least one more big game.
Yeah, there's a big friendly we probably want to catch. We've got that Guatemala-Chile international that's going to be a big one to watch. And then we've got under-21s, national teams. But no, the place to be, as it has been probably for the last week. You had the final, the FA Cup final. You had the championship playoff. And it's back to Wembley for this big one. It's going to be a good one to watch. We've got a German team against a Spanish team. We've got Borussia Dortmund playing against Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League final. It's going to be a really good game, actually. I'm looking forward to watching this one. So my money's on Real Madrid, I'm afraid. I think they're probably going to find a way to win.
Yeah, and I think everybody that lives outside of Madrid and the entire world is rooting for Dortmund.
Yeah. Yeah, probably fair to say.
It's, Real Madrid is the Manchester City of the Champions League.
They really are.
So
they just find a way to get to the final, find a way to, and when they are in the final, they don't lose too often. So
right,
that's the thing. So it should be a good one. I think it'll be about a 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock kickoff. Probably on CBS is where you're going to find it. Live on CBS on your regular TV channel, so you don't have to stream this one. So that'll be good. Should be a really good one. It's live from Wembley Stadium.
June 1st? Is it Saturday? Yes.
Saturday, June 1st. That is correct.
Okay. Well, after that, there's also a little thing called the European Cup happening this summer. I'm going to be traveling to Berlin to see a couple of games. Very awesome. Much looking forward to it. We're going to see the Netherlands face Austria. And then we've got the tickets to the, I think, the winner of Group A versus the second place team of Group B or something like that. A round of 16 game.
Could that be Germany?
It could be. It could be.
That would be awesome. That would be great for you to watch Germany play.
I would love to see it. So anyway, that's our plans for the summer. You obviously are going to be busy with all of what you have going on. So
yeah, although I'm taking a little trip. My wife and I are going on a little cruise. So we're excited about that, actually. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, and tell everybody about that cruise, because this sounds really cool.
Yeah, little Mediterranean cruise, starting in Rome and finishing in Barcelona and hitting the beautiful islands of Greece in between. So
I believe it's Barcelona.
Barcelona, absolutely. Right. Yeah. So looking forward to that. So that should be a lot of fun. So I'm going to have to watch some of these games on a ship. So, but that's all right. It's all good. It's all good. But and we've got the Copa too, the Copa America.
That's
as well.
Right.
So, and if people use their calendars on their phones, I would strongly suggest you download the iCal calendar, put it on your phone. That way you get all of the games so you don't miss one, because they're going to be starting very, very quickly. And you don't want to miss them, because this is the best thing about it. You'll have a game in the afternoon because it's in Germany.
Yeah.
So you'll probably they're playing in the evening, which is about 2 o'clock our time. And then you can turn around and watch an evening game in the Copa, which is great. It's like it's actually going to be pretty perfect summer.
It is. It's a soccer fan's dream.
Yes,
so.
you got all those games, and then you got the friendlies. There's going to be a bunch of preseason friendlies at the end too. So we've got some teams coming over at the end of July. We're not skipping a beat. We're going to have lots of soccer, that's for sure.
That's great. All right, Free Kicks is brought to you by the Green White Soccer Club, which just came back from Mansfield, Ohio, with a victory against Mansfield and a draw against Akron and some other games. I don't remember what happened in the other games. But it's a club that has now been around for almost 70 years. Go to greenwhitesoccer.org. We have teams at every age group, from U8 all the way through over 50. That's greenwhitesoccer.org. All right, so we're going to take the summer off, as we always do. We've just completed our 6th full season.
Wow.
Doing this show, which has just been fantastic. Thank you very much for being part of it. We have people we need to thank. We need to thank our executive producer, Tony Lasano, with Opie Shows. Thank you, Tony, for all you do for us. Thank you to Ed Silla with the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Ed distributes the show. We couldn't do it without him. And we'll be back again, right? We'll be back again in the fall for a brand new episode of Free Kicks.
The proceeding was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?